Well, will he stay or will he go? That's the question until President Cyril Ramaphosa addresses the nation on the Phala Phala findings. The rand dipped by more than 1% following the release of the report. For more to discuss this further with us, I'm joined by economist Professor Bonke Dumisa. Prof, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Now, firstly, we did see the rand dip by 1%. At some point yesterday before the markets closed, it looked to be improving again. Clearly, the markets are not liking what they're seeing happening in South Africa. Is it more about instability in general, like your Moody's have said when they would downgrade us, or is it about the man himself?
It's both. When the global markets look at currencies of different countries, they mainly consider two things: political certainty and economic certainty. If any of those two is disturbed, then the currency takes a dip. And the Section 89 independent panel's report the other night triggered those two considerations. If ever President Ramaphosa is to leave now, whether by resignation or by impeachment, if ever that will happen, because it can only happen next year, then if ever it happens, then will there be economic stability in South Africa or political stability? And the indicators are political stability is definitely not going to be there, but economic stability, not sure. And then hence, it was mostly the bonds that the global investors, South African bonds that international investors really got rid of. And there we saw the rand moving from 16 rands 98 to the US dollar on Wednesday to close to 17 rands 70 yesterday. And it's not getting better. It was even worse with the euro and the UK pound sterling. The pound sterling moved from 20 rands 36 on Wednesday, and this morning it was at 21 rands 52. That's really massive. So until we clarify these things, then we will continue seeing this currency instability.
And it's quite interesting to see the pound actually react even worse than all the other currencies that you've just mentioned, because he just concluded his trip with King Charles III.
That is really frustrating. That's why whoever is really working on this thing, they must not really act emotional on this. They must consider all factors. Otherwise, we are going to go back to the bad old days where the current South African currency was very unstable.
And the whole world is going through this issue in terms of a possible technical recession if we aren't in one already, etc. So the whole world is really complaining about our money not being enough. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Prof, if you don't mind. What do you think would be the solution for us? Would it be for him to step down? Or would it be for him to actually avail himself for an impeachment inquiry if Parliament agrees that one is indeed needed?
Well, I'm not a political analyst, but you're putting me on the spot, and I'll respond honestly to you. I believe it may be in his best interest to wait for the impeachment inquiry, because you must remember the report said there may have been. It did not say there were wrongdoings. So for him to clear his name, he must just wait for that, because some people may simply think that if he just resigns now, it means he says he's guilty.
And I just want to remind you of a time, Prof, that, it's not the first time that we're seeing this. We saw this during the tenure of the former President Jacob Zuma, when there'd be changes to the Ministry of Finance, when it came to the ministers that would be appointed and then, fired, and the ministers would then be, replaced with someone else. At some point, the markets reacted this way to Minister Pravin Gordhan when he was removed as finance minister. And a lot of people were saying, these ratings agencies and all these markets are judging South Africa, for, political reasons, instead of just giving us the chance to be able to sort out our problems. But that's not how it works, is it? Because the whole world is watching.
Yeah, I really don't agree with those who are saying those were just political considerations. If ever you've got a very unstable political environment, that affects your economic environment. I'm not here to quote Karl Marx, but Karl Marx said something to the effect that if ever you want to sort out your economic environment, you must sort out your political superstructure first.
And that's quite true. So, my question to you is also another one that puts you on the spot just a little bit. But before I get to that question, Prof, do you see any changes to the rand before the market closes for the weekend into Monday? Because we're going to have this weekend of South Africans on the edge of their seats trying to figure out if the ANC or the president himself will address the nation at any point. What would be your advice if you were part of the NEC? For them to announce something at least this weekend to assist with the markets when they open again on Monday?
The markets are waiting for one. There is a meeting of the ANC and EC at 2 p.m. today, which many of us don't believe is going to be over by tomorrow morning. So then there'll still be this question mark. And then they'll wait for Wednesday, for the 6th of November, when the parliament is going to convene. Until those two pronounce on this, the rand will continue being highly unstable.
And that's the worry, isn't it, Prof, especially with a country that is already suffering when it comes to our economic problems. Thank you so much, Professor, for speaking to us today.